And now to take this conversation forward, we're joined live by the chairman of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, that is Erastus Ethekon, who's coming to us live from the county of Kisumu. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for speaking to us on NTV Tonight live this evening. And just to pick up from what story we've just run, where we've got concerns about voter bribery in Malava, has this gotten to you and what has been done about it?
Thank you, Dan Mwangi, for having me in this show. I'm Erastus Ethekon, the chairman of IEBC. Yes, indeed, it is an opportunity for us to brief the nation on what is happening with the by-election preparations as we approach the D-Day, which will be on Thursday, the 27th of November, 2025. Yes, of course, we've made preparations and we are now at an advanced stage. There have also been concerns, as you've rightly pointed out, that are reaching us. Some have not reached us, but we are addressing those concerns as they come.
All right, and so I'm trying to zero in specifically on Malava, where we've had even videos being shown of the woman representative of Kakamega, who then is being accused of voter bribery as she's seen dishing out some, mattresses and the likes. Has this gotten to you, and what exactly is being done about it?
Yes, I think we have seen those videos circulating, and we cannot verify exactly what those videos are. And there's a procedure normally for us to address such issues, and we urge that the concerned candidates can report to the commission through the proper channels. We have our returning officer on the ground. They can report these matters for investigation so that we verify and confirm that indeed those mattresses or any other acts of bribery or such associated acts are true indeed, so that we take the necessary action. As of now, we've not yet received any formal complaint, and once we do that, then the matter will be investigated and dealt with. And I think I really need to call upon all the political parties and all the participating candidates to remind them of what the Constitution says. Article 81 says that our elections must be free from violence, harassment, intimidation, and bribery. And therefore, they shouldn't engage in such kind of acts that are prohibited by the Constitution, but also the Elections Act and the Election Offences Act. So if those allegations are indeed true, after the investigations, action will be taken. And
how long do we estimate these investigations to take, just so that we can have a sense of, because we are under 48 hours, we're just about 33 hours to the polls opening. How long should we expect the investigations to take so that we could see action, as you're saying, being taken?
At the moment, I can't tell how long. It depends on once the complaint reach our returning officers, then they will, of course, determine the time frame within which it takes place. So at the moment, we are yet to get the report from the returning officer whether indeed they have received the specific complaint.
Okay.
But yes, of course, there's a lot going on here.
All right. And a few days ago, the IEBC had a press conference where one of the commissioners, Mukwana Alutalala, spoke about there are concerns, there's intelligence that has been received by the commission in regards to Homa Bay having state resources or county government resources being used for political activities. After this information has come to the commission, what has been done about it?
Thank you, Dan Mwangi, for that question. I think for the case of Homa Bay, and specifically Kasipul constituency, where we are having a by-election, and indeed I'll be there tomorrow, we've had some cases reported to us formally by way of complaints by both parties, the independent side and, of course, the ODM side that are participating alongside 8 other candidates in the by-elections. We have dealt with that matter through our through our election code of conduct enforcement committee, where we summoned all those candidates, the parties that complained, and the matter was placed before the committee, and the committee deliberated on it after listening to all the sides and addressing those issues, including, of course, fining the various candidates who are found to have committed certain offenses, including and that information is within the public domain. And for the use of the county public resources, we have not yet received any official complaint. And once we receive that formally, of course, there is a procedure. Then I think sometimes we hear a lot happening out there in the social media space, within the public domain, but until it reaches us formally, so that we take that seriously and be able to investigate it and address the matter as it comes. Because we are also a country that is governed by the rule of law, and there are processes, there's the due process. We need to receive a complaint formally, we need to understand the nature, and of course to what extent and who are complaining, and therefore we need evidence for us to act on it.
So based on the intelligence that was spoken about by the commissioner, we don't have enough to act on it, or is it that there's a legal requirement for formal complaint to be filed, yet the commission itself says it has intelligence?
Well, I think of course, intelligence, it's part of listening to what is happening out there, is part of collecting intelligence. But there is a process in law that requires that there must be a petition, there must be a complaint, formal, and of course that must be tabled before the commission for us to trigger the internal processes to address that particular issue through investigation, verifying and ascertaining, so that we can address it. Again, based on the principles of the rule of law and due process and natural justice, we need to look at it within that context.
Okay, let's touch briefly before we come to a close on the electoral pre-election violence that has been witnessed in various areas, and there are claims that the IEBC was aware of some of these things but did not act in the hoped way by those who are accusing you. For instance, we have the party leader of DCP, the former deputy president, who has again this evening done another note to you saying that the Narok, the violence that was witnessed in Narok, I'll just read an excerpt of what he said, that the violence that was witnessed in Narok was something that was you are aware about. That's what he claims. Is this a credible allegation, and what is your response to that?
Thank you, Dan Mwangi. I think I would start first and foremost by condemning all acts of violence, harassment and intimidation during these by-elections. Those are acts that are prohibited by the laws of Kenya, including our constitution, which is very robust. And generally speaking, throughout this election campaign, we've seen generally and by and large a peaceful atmosphere, except for those few incidences as reported in Kasipul, and of course those ones in Narok that have been brought to our attention again through social media this evening. And as a commission, we have tried our best, again guided by law, by the laws of Kenya, to address some of those challenges, including the one in Kasipul, which we moved very swiftly and addressed it. We of course summoned the candidates, and we took the necessary steps, including administering the appropriate fine, and of course warning the candidates to maintain peace and to refrain from violence. And of course we had those candidates sign the Charter for Political Decency and Peaceful Elections. For the case of Narok, I am yet to get any credible reports about the violence that occurred there and the nature of the violence and to what extent. So once we receive, again, a formal complaint, then we're able to investigate and take the necessary action. And Dan Mwangi, I need to inform the country and all the actors that there are certain formal processes that the law prescribes for us as a commission in order for us as a commission to address some of those concerns, including concerns of violence. We can't act in a vacuum. We encourage those candidates that are affected. For example, for the case of Narok, the candidates that are affected can, and indeed I encourage to file a formal complaint with the commission so that we take the necessary action.
Okay, and so in closing, what does a successful by-election look like for IEBC?
Of course, this being our first by-election as the new IEBC, we are very much anxious. We are very much looking forward to having a successful election. And for us, a successful election, number one, starts with the peaceful nature in which the political parties conducted their party primaries and concluded that. And again, we had a very successful candidates registration exercise in which we registered all the successful candidates from the various parties that were contesting in these elections, including the independent candidates who qualified to contest in these by-elections. Another attribute of a successful by-election is again rooted in the manner in which the political parties and the specific candidates have conducted themselves throughout the campaign period until yesterday, 6 p.m. when we closed that period. And generally, and by and large, as I've said earlier, the candidates and the political parties have demonstrated that they can campaign peacefully, they can sell their manifestos, their ideas to the citizens. And until yesterday when we concluded that exercise, we hope that in the next couple of hours to the D-Day, Thursday, that the candidates will give the citizens from those various electoral areas that opportunity to exercise their sovereign will, their democratic right to elect their leaders and to elect leaders of their choice out of their free will, without intimidation, coercion, and of course bribery. And since we have closed the campaign period, the campaign window, we expect that the candidates and their political parties will obey the law and desist from further campaigns or that will constitute to breach of the Elections Act. And therefore, on the final day, we hope and we pray that Kenyans in those areas will turn up in large numbers to exercise their sovereign will to elect their leaders out of their own free will, out of their own choice. And that all the actors, Dan, I think I need to inform the country
just briefly,
that elections is not about IEBC alone. Elections involves a lot of actors. We've had party agents trained today and observers so that they understand their role in the election processes, because they'll be present in the polling stations. All the parties participating will have their agents. We have the international and local observers. We have you, the media, also covering these elections. And of course, we have our officials ready and we'll deploy them tomorrow together with the election materials. We are hoping that the polls will progress peacefully from the morning of Thursday, 6 p.m., when we open the polling stations, and the poll will take place throughout the day until 6 p.m. when we close. And thereafter, we hope that the counting process and the tallying process will again proceed peacefully without any interference, without any chaos, without any interference or any stoppage, and that we will get the election outcomes in each of the electoral areas, from the wards to the constituencies up to the county level, because we have Baringo County as one of the largest electoral areas this time round. And therefore, we urge all the participants to help us, to help the country, to help the citizens of this country make these by-elections successful.
Thank you very much, Chairman of the IEBC, Erastus Ethekon, for speaking to us on NTV tonight on this exclusive conversation, 2 days ahead of the by-elections, which are actually 24 vacancies to be filled, not 23, as I'd said earlier, beg your pardon. But after this, we take a short break.